It's so live, being where I'm from. We don't got nothing to hide. It's so right, being where I'm from. It's a part of me still. Being where I'm from, you just gotta be real. Being where I'm from, they let the smoke come in wicked. It's so fly, being where I'm from. They let the smoke come in wicked. It's so live, being where I'm from. We don't got nothing to hide. It's so right, being where I'm from. It's a part of me still. Being where I'm from, you just gotta be real. Being where I'm from.
Come on out to the Bungalow Bar, located at 377 Beach 92nd Street in Rockaway Beach, New York. Located right on the corner of Beach 92nd Street and Beach Channel Drive. Come and enjoy our choice of dine-in service with beautiful views of Jamaica Bay and a breathtaking sunset view. Or enjoy our takeout service and no-contact delivery as well. Either way you decide to dine, you will be satisfied with our famous American-style cuisine, great drinks, and great service. Brought to you by IGC Hospitality, the staff at Bungalow Bar hope to see you real soon. Now, enjoy your scheduled program, Buck the System with Buck and Fox.
Big Apple Elevator Service is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, family-owned and operated elevator maintenance and repair company. We'll provide you with the best service possible with a 1-hour response time for any trouble calls you may have. We also perform all Category 1 and 5 tests that are required in New York and clear any existing violations so your elevators are safe and up to code. Call 212-279-0700. 212-279-0700. When the cameras aren't rolling and the spotlight is off, what are your favorite celebs really like? This is Buck the System, the podcast that peeks behind the curtain, under the covers, and brings you along as host Buck Gritano exposes real reality. We started with the captains of the smash hit TV show Wicked Tuna. How cool is that? And every time we buck the system, we have an awesome time doing it. So now, let's have some fun. You ready? Buckle up and let's go.
Hey, what's going on? Buck Gritano on Buck the System tonight. Sorry, but Brian is not going to be on the show tonight, so you're going to miss him. I'm going to be flying solo on this mission with special guest Dexter Carter from the 49ers, Florida State Seminoles. I used to hate the chant. No offense, because it reminded me of the Braves. I'm a Mets fan. Oh, and I'm like, that chant. But got to play his college career with one of the greatest head coaches of all time, Bobby Bowden. You also got to play on one of the best teams in the NFL, the New York Jets. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers. Did spend a cup of coffee, a minute in New York with Rich Kotite. But if you're a Jets fan, you know how that season turned out. But welcome to Buck the System, Dexter Carter. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Buck, man, it's a pleasure being with you, man, and thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely, man. My pleasure to have you on. Brian my boy Fox wanted to jump in here. And it's hit and go. We don't want to say anything if he's not sick. He's not a little tired, works at night, hard-working, single guy, 2 kids taken care of. The guy's the man. I miss him sitting here so I can, have him talk. But Dexter Carter's here. We got talking the other day. Which is funny because you called me on the phone yesterday and you're like, yo, what time you go live? And I'm like, no, tomorrow night. So I usually don't start on time, but we're not that bad. Almost 8 o'clock, usually not that bad. But football season, the NFL just ended. Super Bowl. I mean, it was a little bit shocker to me to see Mahomes not score a touchdown. Guy that was a coach here for my New York Jets, Todd Bowles. You have connection with Bowles too, right? I think so.
Yeah,
right?
well, we played together. We played together with the 49ers in 91.
Okay.
He was a DB. He was a DB on the 49ers.
He don't look like a DB for some reason on that sideline. I would think he's like a linebacker, defensive end. But as we get older, we get bigger, I guess, right?
Yeah. He looks good.
He looks good when he's defensive coordinator. He looks good. But I don't think it's his fault in a way being up here. Let's talk about you first. We're not talking about Todd Bowles. Super Bowl champions now you played with Joe Montana. Is Tom Brady that much better than Joe Montana?
you know what? When you win 7 Super Bowls and
I
you've
know.
gone to 10, and Joe went to 4 and won 4, and was MVP, I believe, in 2 or 3 of them. Uh, up until about 2 years ago, Joe was the greatest to me. He was the GOAT. And even though I love Joe, want, to do what Tom has done over the time period that he's done it, you got to relinquish. You got to relinquish and say the man is doing something special, and we all have to give him respect for that.
No, absolutely. I'm a Jet fan, so you know that I
I
gave
know.
respect out of a beating. It's like you got to respect the guy because he beats you all the time, man. Like I don't think we ever went into
Uh,
a season, a couple of seasons we had where we played them good up in New England and stuff like that, but it never turned out to be anything. You played for the let's get into your college career, high school career. You had an opportunity to play at one of the unique schools in the United States. I grew up in the 90s, and we all know Florida State was like the Yankees. They were up there with Notre Dame, with Miami, Ohio State. I mean, the big, big schools, USC, all the big schools of the 90s. You got to play, and I'm looking at it's funny. And I was supposed to play this clip as we started off. But I'll get into that when we get back into the NFL. I'm sorry. I totally blew that one up. But you got to play at Florida State, and I'm looking at the list of running backs. Sammy Smith was starting, and then it was in front of you. Then you wind up starting Ampley. I have the list. I don't know. Who else we got here? Edgar Bennett. I didn't even know that he was there
yeah,
too. I'm looking at the thing. Marion Butts. I'm looking at
Marion Butts. Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking at Victor Floyd, and I'm looking at the list, and I'm like, this dude
Yeah.
is on top. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy,
And
man.
you know what's and what yeah, and what's interesting about that is Edgar was my starting fullback. And and as people know, Sammy was a ninth pick overall in the draft. Sammy came in a year before me, and he was 6'2", 230, ran a 4.4, and was the anchor on our 4x100 meter relay team, which consisted of 3 NFL first rounders, which was Sammy was the anchor, Dion was the third leg, prime time. I was the first, and Arthur Blake, who was the only true track guy, was the second leg, and Arthur was the in the Olympics in the 110 high hurdles in '84 and '88. So you know, just being there, coming in as a freshman and seeing Sammy would have scared a lot of people off. Victor Floyd was already there, who played with the Chargers. You know, I grew up in South Georgia, and uh, I had no fear. I was 160, 65 pounds when I went to Florida State, and I went in there, and they expected to redshirt me, but my work ethic, performance, and the way I played, I surpassed everybody except Sammy. But Sammy for years, I ended up as a sophomore having over 800 yards rushing and still behind Sammy. He had over 1,000, but I was just very, very fortunate that I had a coach that was such an awesome coach that no matter if you came in and you could play, he was going to play you. And he saw a little dude from Baxter, Georgia, 170 pounds, and allowed me to play. And I was able to show enough in my 4 years, um, to go to the Senior Bowl and actually in Mobile, Alabama, and uh, my South team lost, but I ended up being coached by Buddy Ryan. Thank goodness for him because he allowed me to block. He allowed me to do all these, and I started, and I ended up getting the most outstanding offensive player on the South team, and it was just great. And from that point, I went to the combine and had a 4.340 and vertical jump 38 inches, and yeah, that along with the Senior Bowl allowed, the 49ers had just won back-to-back Super Bowls, so they were in a position of luxury. That year, I think there were, oh my goodness, I think there was about 7 running backs drafted in the first round,
Wow.
and Emmitt Smith went 22. He went 19, between 19 and 22, and I was 25. But we had Steve Broussard in there. We had Blair Thomas, who was number 2 overall.
Why do you even bring that up?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, I know, yeah. but yeah, he was a great college player,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
but that was the start of my, everything that encompassed me going to the NFL and having the chance to live out a dream. So I was very, very fortunate.
Now playing with the Seminoles, like that's pretty much you're playing at an NFL style of football. I mean,
Yes,
it's the minor leagues
absolutely.
of the NFL, man. That the way you guys are playing back then, you step into the first of all. I have it's kind of hard in New York to have a 49ers fan, right? I got a diehard 49ers
Right.
fan that listens to the show, right? Watches the show all the time. Larry Wiley, he lives in Broad Channel, New York. He is a 49ers fan. I'll give it to him. Usually it's hard to be a 49ers fan out here. You're like, you front runner.
I know,
But
yeah.
he is he is. Got his kids 49ers fans, and he wanted to say hello to you, special hello. So,
Okay.
Larry, I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm a Jets fan, and I had my own son tell
Yeah.
me, he goes, Dad, Jets don't even play in New York. Buffalo's the only team we got in New York. I'm like, stop. I said, be a Bills fan then.
Yeah.
Be a Bills fan. Anyway, you get
Yeah.
into the NFL. You get drafted 24th or whatever, 23rd, 24th. You get to San Francisco and you're doing training camp, and you just step on the field for the first time, right? You're looking at what you have. You have Joe Montana. You have Jerry Rice. You have Roger Craig. You have all the greats of the greats. And these guys,
Yes.
you're watching them on TV. What was the feeling like when you first walked into camp with the 49ers?
One is a moment that I'll never forget because I told my agent, I said, one, I do not want to be late for camp. Whatever you got to do, get it done because I want to get there. And so I get to training camp, and I wasn't in awe. Maybe with Joe, I was. I think the first ball he threw to me, maybe I dropped it because I was like, wait a minute, is that Joe Montana that's throwing me the ball? I didn't drop the ball, by the way, but but at Florida State, we had such a commitment to excellence, and everybody made everybody accountable. So you worked really hard. And then the first day that I was there in training camp, I noticed Jerry Rice catching a slant and running 50 yards down the field every time. John Taylor catch the ball, run 50 yards down the field. Roger Craig get a handoff, run 50 yards down the field. So every offensive player would do that. So I'm like, wow, this is similar to what I'm used to. So I just fell right into it, and one is a natural conditioning method, and it shows everybody, even the younger guys, that this is the standard that we live by, and this is how we succeed in what we set out to do. We um, catch the ball, run down the field, we score, and we come back and we do it again. And so I realized really quickly that what we did at Florida State made it an easy transition to Florida State for me. I mean, to San Francisco for
Yeah.
me, but it was risen to another level because when they go to training camp, there's only one thing on their mind. It's only one thought, and that was the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year.
The last game of the year. We want to win the last game of the year. That's it, man.
Yep,
That's it.
and yep, and then that year we go to the NFC Championship game, and we lose it to the Giants in the last 3 seconds of the game. They kick a field goal. So I got a taste of it early on. So in my 7 years, we went to four NFC Championship games. So that's not bad. That's not
How'd you
bad. We
do? How'd you
were
do with the Jets? What was that season like with the Jets? What was what was that season?
You know what? You know what? And I appreciate you bringing that up because um, I got to share with you how that whole thing transpired. I went Mike Mike Holgram. I'm sorry, Mike Shanahan, who was our offensive coordinator. '94, we won the Super Bowl. He left and went to Denver to be their head coach. I That's the year I left and went to New York. But prior to New York, I had visited Denver the day before, and Shannon Sharp. I remember talking to him, and I was told by Mike Shanahan that he was going to make me their Dave Meggett, Glenn Mirburn, but they had already had Glenn Mirburn. So I was like, that's not going to work. But he told me, he said, hey, but you know what? Nobody knows it yet. But I'm going to trade Glenn Milburn, and I'm going to make you that guy. So I was like, cool. But the director of personnel, I can't remember his name. He told me, he told me that they were just gonna make me a kick returner. But him and Mike maybe not had communicated at that time. Maybe none of them really knew the power Mike Shanahan was gonna have. Because I went downstairs in the locker room and I saw Shannon Sharp, who we grew up 30 minutes apart in South
Okay.
Georgia. And he told me, he said, Dexter, he said, Glenn Milburn went to Stanford. John Elway went to Stanford. Elway is not going to let him get rid of Glenn Milburn. So you know what? I took the advice of my friend, other than the coach that I had played for. So what I did is I got on a plane, went to New York. Rich Kotite said he was going to do the same thing with me that Mike Shanahan said he was going to do. So they didn't have anybody like me. So you know what I did? I went, oh, New York, here I come. 2 weeks later, Mike Shanahan trades Glenn Milburn.
Oh man.
Exactly what he did. He did exactly what he told me he was going to do. And he ended up bringing in Derek Lavelle from the 49ers since I wasn't available. And when I got to New York, I was excited. Two things happened early on. One, that summer, I had a pro baseball tryout with the Florida Marlins at the time because I was a baseball player, but I just had never played at Florida State because Coach Bowden wouldn't let me. So I went in because Gary Sheffield was a friend of mine, and he said he saw me. I used to go to batting practice with him. He said, "Man, you need to come out and try out, boy. You know you can hit that ball." So I went out. The first 5 minutes of the tryout, I broke my finger. Broke it. Yes. So I had to call the Jets and say, sorry guys, but da da da. So they flew me to New
Hold
York.
on. Let's stop. Let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. What was that phone call like? What'd you say? You
You
fell?
know
You
what?
didn't tell him that you were at a
You know
batting.
what? No. Yes I did.
You
I told
truth.
them
The truth. Okay.
yes, I was honest with them. And I tell you what, I have to say that they handled it way better than I thought they would. Because it was early in the process of the summer. So they said, come up here, have surgery. Unfortunately, the surgery, I mean, it healed, but it still hurt me during the year. And I dropped some balls here and there, and it was in the cold, and I wasn't going to use that as an excuse. But most of the fumbles came on muffs on kick, punt return, or getting hit, on a return or something. And it was unfortunate, but I didn't complain about it. I just took it, and it was what it was. But that wasn't the reason why Rich Kotite released me in week 10. Nobody knows this story, but I'm gonna share it here
All
on the
right.
show.
Breaking news. Breaking news. Dun, 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 dun.
Um, about week 8, Rich Kotite calls me up into his office, and it wasn't. Um, I'm sorry. Prior to that, we go through preseason, and Kotite told me he was gonna have me on third down, da 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 da. But he never used me, so I approached him prior to the end of preseason, and I was like, "Hey, coach, what happened to why you said you signed me?" He said, "Hey, I got a plan for you, but I don't want nobody to see how I'm gonna use you." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I got it now." Well, the season starts and he still doesn't do it.
He was saving you for the
So I'm not gonna
playoffs.
lie.
He was saving you for the
So
playoffs.
yeah. So I will admit I got frustrated. I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You know what? And unfortunately that wasn't good for my performance, and me giving the Jet fans what they deserve. But I got frustrated, and that probably had something to do with my play. But my play was not bad enough to release me in week 10. I mean, as bad as everybody was playing, I mean, I mean, I got to give it to Adrian Morrell. Adrian Morrell was a good running back.
Yeah. Solid.
So yeah, so I love the way he played. I love the way the rookie Wayne Corbett played. I mean, we had some good pieces. You know, I think I could have helped if he did throw me in there on third down, but nonetheless, Week 10 comes and he releases me. You mean to tell you why he released me?
Yeah, absolutely.
I met Howard Stern when I first got to New York through a mutual friend. Now, I didn't really listen to Howard's show, but through the mutual friend, Howard asked me to do a weekly show, which was a 30-minute sports show. And for about 10 weeks, I would be on the show every Monday. And I would be on there after a loss. Howard Stern would eat us up. He would talk about how sorry we was, that we sucked, and he would try to get me to say it. He would say, Dex, come on, man. Y'all suck, don't you? Y'all suck. And I was like, no, man, we just trying to get adjusted, to each other, blah, blah, blah.
It's a
Well,
process.
evidently,
It's a process.
yeah, exactly. I was doing the typical political thing, saying what needed to be said. Well, evidently he heard from a friend of his in Philadelphia because he called me up to his office week 8, and he said, I heard that you're on Howard Stern's show talking bad about, the team. And I said, talking bad about the team? I was like, why would I get on the radio and talk bad about the team? I said, did you hear the show? And he said, no. My friend told me. I was like, okay. I said, let me tell you something. Don't ever confront me again about something you heard if you didn't hear it yourself. And I think that must have pissed him off. How bad about the team, And 2 weeks later, it was our bye week, and I'm in Florida, and I get a call from my agent saying that Kotite cut me.
He didn't even call you personally? Nothing called? No.
Didn't call me personally.
Hey, Dexter, what's the norm in the NFL? Do they, when they cut you, usually they call you in the office, right? They would call you in and say, listen, I'm going to let you go, right?
Yes, that's the normal procedure.
That's the manly way to do it, right?
Just to be a man about it. That's why, evidently, and gave me no inkling when the bye weekend started, he was going to cut me. We just left practice and people went on their way. So fortunately, the 49ers hadn't replaced me. They called me, signed me the next day, and I was on a plane. I got to San Francisco on a Wednesday, practiced on Thursday, and was playing the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas on Sunday.
Oh, he did you a favor. He did you a favor.
Yeah. And the 49ers had already had their bye weekend. And so that year I set a record. I'm the only player in the history of the NFL to play in all 17 games as an offensive player and touch the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's Hall of Fame worthy, personally.
Oh, that's awesome. You know what's funny about that? Because I'm looking at it, and you played more games. You look on that year. You played. Yep. I'm like, how did he play that many? I didn't even realize, because 16 games and you played 17. I'm like, they may be including. I'm not trying to think. Like, what?
Yep.
See,
because I missed out on both bye weekends of the Jets and the 49ers.
Oh, okay. Now you were with the Jets. What was the record week 10 with the Jets, if you recall about?
I thought we were 10. I thought we were 0-10.
So you 0-10 to San Francisco. What's San Francisco's record at the time?
It was a winning record. I can't recall what the record was.
Steve Young was the quarterback at the time, right? Joe was moved on from then. He was in Kansas City, and then you went there. Yeah. Okay.
And we went to the divisional. We won the NFC West, and then that was 95. So I believe we lost. I can't remember who we lost to, but we lost in the divisional round, because that was one of the years that we did not go to the NFC Championship game.
It was like a norm, right, for you guys to be in there from 80s to on, man. Let me read the message board real quick. I got Larry asking his 49 question. When you're getting a handoff from a quarterback like Joe Montana, who's right-handed, and a quarterback like Steve Young, who's left-handed, is the handoff different approach to you?
You know what? The handoffs aren't different. The passes are different.
Okay.
Yeah. The handoffs are fine because quarterbacks are accustomed from a young age to handoff going to the right with their left hand and handoff going left with their right hand. You know what I'm saying? As they go back to give the ball to you, they give it with the appropriate hand, and it doesn't really matter which one is their strength hand. So yeah, it's no big deal there. Passing, you got to kind of get used to how the ball spins.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Mhm.
guess I can see that, man. I could definitely. I never played at your level, but I kind of take it how left-handed, right-handed. Especially you came from Boomer, who was left-handed anyway. So Boomer Esiason was lefty quarterback. So you went in over to Steve Young, who's the lefty quarterback.
Well,
My
well,
buddy.
well, well, well. Before we get to your buddy, now see, Joe was our quarterback in '90. We went to the NFC Championship game. That was the year that he got hurt. Remember, Leonard Marshall from the Giants hit him in the
Yes,
back in the
yes,
championship
yes,
game,
yes. How could I forget
and
that?
and yeah. So the next year, so I had already played with Steve in 91, 92, 93, 94. So I played 4 years with Steve before I got the
Okay.
Boomer.
Okay. He was gone already. I got you. It just seemed like it was like such a mix then. I mean, it was like you went from Montana, regardless of the years, Montana to Young. It's like the Jets go from
Hey,
I don't even Smith to
yeah.
I don't even know. I can't remember the last time our best quarterback, I mean, not statistically, taking us farther in the playoffs is Sanchez. I mean, Sanchez went to back-to-back AFC Championship
Oh,
games,
okay.
right? He took us both. We honestly we should have won the Colts one, but halftime,
Right.
whatever, they scored right before halftime or whatever. And then I remember in Denver with Vinny Testaverde, Keith Byers, right? Was it Keith Byers, the running back, fullback from Eagles? He
Right.
was with us. He fumbled. The guy never fumbled in his life. And then this is great.
Oh,
This is great. We were up 10-0, right? Halftime.
yeah.
They kicked the ball. Denver kicks the ball to us. It was so windy that day. Denver kicked the ball. So they recovered the kickoff. I've never seen that in my life where they recovered the
Yeah.
kickoff in the air. They ran down and got the ball. I'm like, yo, this is over. Actually, my wife walked in at halftime. She was my girlfriend at the time. And she walked in. I was like, "You never, ever, ever allowed to come to." We were. I was making Super Bowl preparations, and I'm a Jets fan. I haven't watched a Super Bowl in my life that meant anything.
Yeah.
Never. I'm too young for Joe Namath. Think about it. If you're Joe Namath,
Right.
right? Think about it. The guy, he honestly, he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns, right? But he did win one game.
Joe did?
Yes.
Joe? I mean, Joe Namath?
Joe Namath threw more
I did not know
interceptions
that.
than touchdowns in his career. Yes, because he liked to
I
throw
did
the
not know
ball
that.
around. He was like but he did transform the NFL to the air game. He's like one of the first guys that were whipping the ball around through the air. Honestly, if he was around
Yeah.
now, they would have fixed him up with his knees and technology with the.
Mm-hmm.
But it's tough being a Jet fan, man. So tough
I
being a Jet
know,
fan.
man.
I got my friend buddy Liam, right? He's in Hawaii, lovely Hawaii. He goes, Howard Stern is 100% correct. The Jets suck. Still. Oh my God. Is it the culture? You were there with Leon Hess, right? When Leon Hess owned the team, right?
Yes. Yes.
See, I heard he was all right. I mean, he wasn't, but I heard they never had any culture, any structure until Parcells came.
Yeah. I tell you, there's a difference. When I left the 49ers, it was a difference going to the Jets, just being honest.
Yeah.
Just the culture itself. Um, the players were professional, but it's a difference when the whole team by the man has an accountability and an expectation that no matter who comes in as a rookie or a free agent, there's a different expectation. It's kind of like, I believe it was 90, might have been our Super Bowl year. We started out 1-2, I believe.
Wow.
And Eddie Bartolo was living in Ohio at the time. He flew to San Francisco and he met with the team. It wasn't very long. He said, is there anything that you guys need to succeed that you don't have? Uh, no. He said, okay, then what's the problem? He said, then there are certain expectations that I have that I expect. Now I'm going to go back to Ohio now, and I expect things to turn around. And you know what? And it turned around. I don't know if that it was his speech that did it. I just think that, you know what, for whatever reason, we weren't playing our best those first few games. But regardless, we went on a run and played the way that we're accustomed to playing. But that's because it was a culture. You might have a little downfall, a little loss here and there, but the ship or a player has to right the ship. Or in this case, Eddie Bartolo, the owner, righted the ship.
That's amazing. Candlestick. You did a lot of kickoffs, some punt returns through your career. Candlestick. How was it playing in Candlestick, man, with the wind, kick returns and stuff?
Now, you know what? It was tough. And I'm going to tell you what's interesting is when I came in as a first rounder, a lot of news people, etc. See, the 49ers did not draft me in the first round to come in and take Roger Craig's spot. They didn't bring me in as that. They brought me in as a specialist skills guy to relieve John Taylor at punt return kicks. And you know what? And their offense they ran was not where you need a third down guy. I mean, they just throw that slant to Jerry and throw it to John and throw it to Brent Jones and let Roger run. So it wasn't a spot for a third down guy. So a lot of people had unrealistic expectations for me. I probably had unrealistic expectations because being drafted ever since I was in Pop Warner, I played running back. So it didn't matter. I was 170 pounds. I expected to come in here and play. That was my expectation, just like Florida State. But they did not bring me in for that. Although Roger Craig got hurt in week 6 or 7, and who had worked their way up to second team? Me. And I ended up leading the team in rushing as a rookie. And I ended up leading the whole NFL, all rookies, including Emmitt Smith and those other 7 running backs that went in the first round. I ended up leading everybody in all-purpose yards. That doesn't mean that I'm all of a sudden going to be an every down pound to pound back. You know what I'm saying? You know, pound between the tackles, even though I did run between the tackles. But if they could have used me like Alvin Kamara is today, I probably could have lasted and played more at running back. But it was just interesting how at 170 pounds, most people think that they brought me in to be an every down back and take over for Roger Craig, but that's not why they brought me in. And something else you asked me about the candlestick, the wind.
Yes.
They brought me in to do punt returns, but I did not return punts at Florida State. Deion Sanders did. Yeah. So when I got the candlestick and they decided they wanted to throw me in there at punt returns, but when you catch a punt in candlestick with that wind coming off of the bay, when that foot hits off, when the ball hits off that foot, that wind takes it to a place that you don't know where it's going.
I've seen baseballs.
And so, yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Baseballs, they do that. Yeah. So I was unable to catch the ball. I really was. It affected me on kickoff returns. So I had a lot of muffs. And I don't know if you remember the rules back then. They call, like if I'm on kickoff return, the ball's kicked to me and the ball's moving and it hits me and falls straight down. I pick it up and run. That's considered a fumble back then.
Oh, yeah. Can't advance a fumble. Yeah.
No. You can advance it. What I'm saying, though, if you look at, Dexter Carter fumbled, you know, he had 30 fumbles in his career. They consider those muffs fumbles.
I got you.
You know, like I only lost 8 fumbles my whole career, but I fumbled 30. Part of those were muffs. I even had a muff on a punt return on Monday Night Football, muffed it, picked it up, ran it back for 75 yards, touchdown against Minnesota, but it was considered a fumble.
That's crazy.
You know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We know kickoff returns that you were pretty solid at kickoff returns. I want to play one right now. Let's see if I can get it up for you. Let me get this stuff down for everybody. He said he didn't see this angle, so let me take these down so you can see it correctly. Hold on 1 second. I like it a lot. Here we go. Ready? Taking me back. Taking you back.
Carter waits for it at the 4-yard line, comes up to the 10, cuts to his right to the 20, gets to the 25 to the 30, 35 to the 40, 45, still in bounds at the 50, down the sideline to the 30, down to the 20, down to the 10, the touchdown for the 49ers, 97-yard touchdown run by Dexter Carter. Talk about a big
Talking about a big run.
Thank you, man. Bringing back a big time memory for me there, man. But yeah, and that's what I wanted to bring to the Jets, but unfortunately I didn't, and I apologize to the Jet fans for that.
Get out of here. There's a lot of apologize. Don't even go there. You're not the reason. Don't even go there, man. We're cursed. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know what it is. But anyway, what I was going to say about the Howard Stern show. Now you're week 10. Do you remember calling Howard Stern? Calling up, like, I can't go. I'm moving. I'm going to San Francisco. What did you tell the show?
You know what? I can't. I honestly can't recall because.
Okay.
I wasn't distraught when I got the call, but I was looking forward to going back to New York. After the bye, and after having some time to just get away in Fort Lauderdale where I was living at the time. And going back and hopefully, turning things around, helping the team turn things around. So I had no idea that transition was going to happen, but it did. And what's interesting is that first game against the Cowboys, I had a great game. I had 1 day of practice and went to Dallas and picked it up like it was picked up the position that was mine when I left, like it was yesterday.
You went from the Grapefruit League playing with the Jets back to reality where you should have been, man. Playing on Monday Night Football and playing the prime game. You talked about playing back then with the 49ers. It was the Giants, the Redskins. It was like that. There was some good. There were people, Dallas Cowboys. You guys, there was some classic games.
Yeah,
I'm coming up here, right, Dexter? I'm coming up to the studio, and I got a text message from my buddy, right? His wife is gonna come on the show. She's a basketball coach. She was a high school standout. She runs the CYO, the Christian organization in my neighborhood, the basketball program at St. Camillus, St. Virgilius, Jill Polisi. Her husband, I grew up with him, right? He texted me a picture of you on the not the cover, but it was like a menu of Tecmo Bowl, the kick returner for the 49ers. Tecmo Bowl. Remember the old Tecmo Bowl?
Yes.
We go back.
Yes,
I wish I could have the picture again. I should have put it up. But your name's right there.
Yes, that would have been cool. Yeah.
I'm gonna post it. I'll post it on Facebook or Brad post it and I'll tag you in it. But your name is right there. It's like Dexter Carter. But before the show we were talking about Junior, your son, and you came out live like you're living football through your son again, man. Your son, I kind of wish I could have put up some more videos or stuff like that. I couldn't download it, but I'm watching your son. I'm actually going through YouTube looking up stuff for you, and I'm like, I said, who's Junior? I'm seeing this kid. Look like the same size, same built as you are, probably, right? A little bigger, 6 foot maybe.
He's big. Oh,
he's bigger.
I'm 5'9", I'm 5'9", 170. He's 6 feet, 195.
Okay, he got a little more meat. He got a little more meat than you, and a little taller. But the way the boy was running the ball, kick returns, 8th grade. This kid, dynamite, man, blocking and throwing kids on the ground. There was one play, he was in 8th grade. It said 8th grade highlight film. And I see him doing a kick return, and some kid tried to tackle him, but he did a hand, he wasn't gonna tackle him, you know what I mean? But he tried. He didn't want to look that bad on, I guess, film. He gave him one of them run. He just ran right in, touchdown. Talk about your son, please. We got on mute. Are you on mute? Can't hear you. Uh-oh. I don't hear nothing. Dexter is on mute. Did I mute him? I don't know. I probably can hear me, but you can't hear Dexter. I don't hear you, Dexter. I don't know if you can hear. I can't hear. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. You could hear me, but I can't hear you. Uh-oh, right in the middle. Does Dexter do any work with youth football? I hope we'll get to that in a second. Let me see if I can click it off. Hold on 1 second. Let me just get you on, and I'll put you off, and then call right back in. 1 second. Okay? Let's do that. All right, give me 1 second. Dexter will be right back in. Dexter's son, like I said, looked him up on YouTube. Dude, wow, amazing. Just like that, man. Like it's like in the pedigree, I guess, man. But growing up, Tecmo Bowl bread. Remember that? Wow. Jets probably had that Johnny Johnson back then. That was the running back for the Jets. Damn. Boomer Slice and Wayne Corbett. I didn't even know Wayne Corbett played when Dexter Carter played for the New York Jets for like 10 games. Howard Stern. Didn't know he was on Howard Stern either. That's pretty cool. I didn't really listen to Howard Stern back then, but 1994. What was I in? 1994, I was in high school. Senior year of high school. Damn, so I should remember a lot of these games, man. Waiting for Dexter Carter to call back in. Played for Florida State University, the Seminoles, which that drive me crazy. I think of my buddy Joe Lombardo. He was a Florida State guy. I don't know. I didn't really watch college football back then. I didn't have a team. If I had to pick a team, not Notre Dame, no. Penn State, maybe, back then, no. Michigan, no. Michigan State? Here we go. He's calling back in now. Let's see if we can get him on. Here we are. We were talking about Tecmo Bowl.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Youth football. After you involved in youth football when your son was playing and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. I actually, I coached at Florida State for Coach Bowden. I was on his last staff with Jimbo Fisher from 2007 to 2010. And that was the only 3 years that I did not coach my youngest son from Pop Warner. I coached him in high school. Mac Jones for Alabama. He was a freshman at the same school my son when he was a senior.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was he? How was he back then? Was he? Cause
my son?
Both Mac and your son.
Oh well, Mac didn't really play because he was younger, and
okay.
And the school that they played at was called Bowles, Bolles. That's where Chipper Jones, the Atlanta Falcon, that's where he played. D. Brown, the Boston Celtic, he played there. The football team won 12 state championships. The coach was the winningest coach in the state of Florida, the 7th winningest in the country. I mean, they were really good. Matter of fact, Derrick Henry's senior year, Dexter and them beat them. Dexter was a sophomore or a freshman. They beat Derrick Henry and them in the playoffs, but Derrick did have 300. Derrick did have 300 and some yards rushing. Hey,
they want to know how old is your son now? Because they're asking how old is Junior.
He's 23. He's 23 now.
Okay. And you said he was a 6th-year senior. Like
yeah.
How does that work?
Because this year the NCAA made a rule that because of COVID, a lot of kids opted out, or the ones that did play, their season was kind of messed all up. So the NCAA gave all seniors an extra year if they chose to come back. And because Dexter Jr. plays at Georgia Southern, which is majority, they run that triple option, so they maybe throw 4-5 times a game. Well, they changed offensive coordinators mid-season, and the new guy is going to throw a little bit. So Dexter, we want Dexter to have a chance to experience that because he's an excellent blocker and he's excellent. I mean, runs a 4.3, a 4.4, so we feel like if he can get some catches this year, hopefully the Senior Bowl will take a look at him and get him in there. And once he gets there, he'll be the same guy he was in high school. He was the top 32nd player in the country behind one. I mean, he was one player behind Lamar Jackson. Lamar was rated 31. Dexter was rated 32. And, he was offered by TCU, Louisville, Auburn, North Carolina, Virginia, Duke, Wisconsin, but most schools offered him on defense.
Really?
So yeah. So we're hoping he has a excellent year, this year, and I'm gonna send you a picture of a touchdown he made against App State towards the end of the season, which shows his speed and all, and hopefully he can have more opportunities to catch the ball like that next year, and we'll see what happens. I think, I play with a lot of guys in the NFL that played many years. And I'm not saying it because he's my son, but I really believe he's got the opportunity and ability to play on the next level.
That's amazing. So that's something I can get to watch and look forward to in college football. Because I'm not a big, I told you, I'm not a huge college football fan. Because like living in Queens, New York, who do I root for? What college football team is there?
Yeah.
People you tend to go to the national champion, Notre Dame it's like I'm not going to Notre Dame games, man. I was never a Notre Dame fan, but people are, which is fine. People like college football. I want to see a great game. Now, going to a school like your son goes to, is it harder? It's definitely harder to be seen at them schools, or you can be seen at them schools.
You know what? It's interesting. You are correct, but they entered the FB. What is the FBS or FB? Yeah, FBS. Because prior to that, they won 7 national championships in Division One, FCS or whatever they call it, and then in 2015 they went into the FBS or FBC, whichever Alabama and Florida State is in. They entered the Sun Belt Conference.
Okay.
And they won the Sun Belt in their first year. Since then, it's been about 7 years. They've actually had 8-9 players drafted in the NFL. Wow. Hey, I'm gonna name a few for you. Jared McKinnon was running back for the 49ers and for the Minnesota Vikings. He played quarterback at Georgia Southern.
Wow.
Matt Breida.
Okay.
Matt Breida played running back at Georgia Southern. The defensive back, number 27, he started for the Chicago Bears, drafted out of Georgia Southern last year as a rookie. The kicker for the Falcons, Georgia Southern. The kicker for the Buffalo Bills, the rookie.
Yeah. Pretty good kicker too. Yeah.
Georgia Southern.
Wow, so they produce. Yeah. What's in the water down there in Georgia? What's in the water down there? Because it seems like you're naming all these people you grew up with, Shannon Sharp, this one, that one, this one. It's because up here football is different up here. Like I know that my buddy over here, Brad, he coaches youth football, and youth football has been locked down. A lot of youth are going to touch football because I guess besides the COVID, I don't know, but watching the tackles and stuff like that. How important is, especially youth football? You see youth football down there is so much different than up here, man, right? It's like more of a, I see how you guys.
By the way, I'm gonna talk about that youth football and flag and touch. But before I go there, Tyreek Hill grew up an hour away from me in South Georgia. So and it's way more than Tyreek Hill. It's a lot of guys. I mean, we had me and 2 other guys from my high school that played in the NFL, and we only had 3 red lights.
Wow. What was the popular? What hometown did you grow up in Georgia?
We had about 5,000 people.
5,000 people, 3 lights.
It's called Baxley, Georgia, Baxley. Matter of fact, my cousin is the starting center fielder for the Minnesota Twins, Byron Buxton.
Byron
was the second. He was the second pick overall out of high school in 2012. So, and he's won the Golden Glove, the Platinum Glove.
What is it about the talent down there? Like you guys, I mean, because you play so competitive at a young age. That's what it is, or
at a young age, we play competitive. I started playing Pop Warner at 8 years old, and I was playing in the yard tackling before that. And just to mention, I said we got an excellent system. I mean, the high school, we got a nice high school, but there's nothing there. We don't have a mall, so it's a lot more people successful than just us athletes. We have doctors and other people, and I think more than anything, people are fighting trying to get out and be successful.
Gotcha. I mean, honestly, playing in front of you go to a small town high school, and I see the high school that, by the way, this is former running back, Florida State University. If you guys just joining me, 49. It's had a cup of coffee. Probably, I say he was on the Howard Stern show. Forget about the Jets. which I didn't know that. Which I wish I'm gonna try to find some tapes of that if I can find any kind of tape of that out there. But Dexter Carter's joining me. He's talking about growing up in Georgia and how it is down there. Playing in high school, it's more like, I know up here, especially in the cities or the boroughs, if you grew up in a borough, it's not any way like it is down there, man. High school football is not that big up here. It's like you don't have the town going out to root for you on Friday nights. You don't have, I don't know if it's so competitive, the football up here. You need about 3 guys in your small neighborhood. We live with millions of people, and we can't produce that talent, which is kind of, doesn't make no sense in a way. But
you know what? I think you got guys from small towns. Miami, Miami is a big city, but you got a lot of small areas within Miami and Fort Lauderdale, South Florida. That's our way out. That's our way out. Out to and get an education and have a chance to play on the next level of football. So I just think there's something innate in each of those individuals that, that's our way to provide for our families.
that's it, right?
And
Wow.
and and then nowadays, just to kind of segue into the coaching youth football in the South is huge. I mean, some coaches take it overboard, because they
Yeah.
and but I do believe you have to coach hard. You have to coach with the intent to teach life lessons. You got to be accountable. You got to listen. You got to execute what you've been taught. You got to do it the right way. And you got to, you just got to make those kids, as I said, accountable for their actions. Um, but there is lots of flag football today. Matter of fact, I've coached flag football, my kids in flag football too, while they're playing tackle, because what flag teaches is a different aspect of the game. So you want them to learn that, but also learn the tackling part, and it prepares them in a different way.
Which
You
way? Which way?
know,
But trying to sneak
so
around or be more like sneaky, or how do you?
when you're out there as a defensive back and you're playing defense and it's all passing, it's more hips and feet. You can't really touch them, but you got to be able to maneuver, anticipate, and try to be successful that way. And you could take that onto the, field when you put pads on, when you could bang around a little, but you worked on your hips and feet, where you can transition, because football's about uh, angles, leverage, quickness, and strength. And you have to incorporate all of that in different positions. Receiver, DB is different than offense, defensive lineman. So I like coaching it. And matter of fact, I coached high school up until 2019. Once COVID hit, because I did not want to, I mean, I just became a granddaddy 3 months ago.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, thank you. I got a daughter that graduated last year, a daughter graduating this year. I got
Wow.
Dexter Jr. in college, and he graduated um, last spring with his sports management degree, working on his second degree. Then I have 2 more boys. They're 14 and 12.
Wow.
So I'm coaching them in basketball. We had trike practice today. So I mean,
Your little Super
I'm
Bowl rings, man. You're doing great. You did a great job,
I
man.
know.
Congratulations, man. That's what it's all about at the end of the
Thank
day
you.
is the kids. I have 3 kids, and you want to see your kids successful. You know what I mean? That's the whole nature of the game, man. To
Yep.
be better than you. You know what I mean? That's what.
You're you're
Just a
absolutely
little,
right. I'm trying
maybe a
to.
lot better, but concussion wise, football wise, how are you after your career? Any problems with hits,
Um,
concussions, or anything like that for yourself?
you know what? If I can take 5 minutes, I'm gonna
Absolutely.
to cover the injury thing, because I believe you asked me about it earlier and I didn't hit on it, but um, I was watching NFL honors the other night, and Alex Smith got comeback player of the year. And if you've ever seen his story,
Yeah, it's crazy, crazy.
you know what? That was me. That was me.
Really?
In 2003, after my 15th knee surgery,
Jeez.
I had I I've had 17 knee surgeries. The first 8 years I was retired, I had a total knee replacement in at 35 in 2003. Well, prior to that 17th surgery, I had a partial knee replacement because they don't like to do knee replacement on young people, at least under 60. But my knee was so bad, I had tried every other surgery and it didn't work. So they did a partial knee replacement, and I unfortunately got the same staph infection that Alex got. And I ended up in 2003, I was in ICU for a month. I was
Wow.
on a ventilator. I was on a ventilator. I went into the hospital. My blood pressure was 60 over 40. My heart rate was 172 beats a minute at rest, but I was still conscious. I didn't realize how bad I was. The doctors, in hindsight, I was told by my ex that they couldn't believe with my symptoms I was still talking.
Wow.
And not long after that emergency room visit, I ended up in the emergency room. I'm sorry, in ICU with a ventilator for 2 weeks. I woke up 2 weeks later, lost a lot of weight, face had swollen up because my kidneys were shutting down. And the only thing that saved me was a blood transfusion, which I said I would never have ever. So it's a good thing that I wasn't conscious because all I know is when Arthur Ashe,
Yes, I know. I know what you're
unfortunately,
saying. I know what
contracted
you're saying.
AIDS,
Yeah, I know
you
what you're
know.
saying.
So, but that's what saved my life. It cleaned my blood out. And um, so 2 week, let's see, 3 months after that, they were able to go in and do a total knee replacement. So I had gone. I have a torn ACL now on my right leg that I don't want to have surgery yet. But and then the knee replacement was over 17 years ago, so I got to have that redone. And
You got to hit the button on the mute button. No, I think there may be a mute button on the phone. I don't hear you. Don't hear. There's a mute button, I think, on the phone. Okay, I'll call right back, but I want to ask Dexter when he comes back in. 15 surgeries, ICUs, staph infections. Would he play in the NFL, do it over again if he could? And Brad, I'm sure, he even told me before the show that if he's ever in New York, he's going to reach out, and I'll make sure that he works something out for you guys, even if it's a video call or something like that. Something before, the Broad Channel Shamrocks. Absolutely. I'll ask him. 100%. So we're waiting for him to call back in, Dexter Carter. We're only going to be around for a couple more seconds, minutes anyway. I don't like to go over 1 hour. One thing I wanted to do was bring out attention to Curran's Superior Meats, now sponsors the show. Tom Murphy, thank you so much. Bungalow Ball, I think Friday, I believe, are open. Hold on, let me get Dexter back in real quick. All right, Dexter. We cannot leave on that note. All right,
hey,
so
everybody,
no,
I
come on,
apologize
don't apologize.
because every time I get a phone call, it for some reason it mutes you guys.
It's okay. It's okay. So
Yeah,
I wanted to ask the
but
question. You cut off. You went through all that stuff. The knee replacements, blah blah blah. 15. Would you do it all over again?
I would, I would, I would
Because you know what's
because
funny,
God,
Dexter? I
it
asked Wesley Walker the same question a couple of years ago, and he said he wouldn't play in the NFL. No way.
really, yeah, I
Yes.
would. You know why? Because I grew up with nothing. My parents did the best they could, um, but He blessed me through this sport that He blessed me with athletic ability, and yes, I've even dealt with some concussion issues. Um, and I think over time, there's things that I've learned from a cognitive perspective um, that slows the process down. It doesn't eliminate it, but even like prior to talking to you tonight, my 14-year-old loves to play Monopoly, and
Which Monopoly?
That
Let me ask you a
game,
question. Which Monopoly? The old
hey,
school one? The old school one with the
no,
money or the
hey,
card?
yes, the money.
Okay, so
And check this
me too,
out.
me too, me too.
Check this out. The one we play, because I live in Augusta where the Masters is, it's called Augustaopoly.
Okay.
So it's got everything, landmarks of James Brown, who is from this area. So all of
Damn.
that
What?
stuff.
I
And
tell you right now, they must have. There's something in that water, man, down there. I want you to bottle it up, and we're gonna put it and bring it up here because James Brown, this one, that one. Damn.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I guess
yeah.
when you want to
Matter
get
of
out of
fact,
somewhere, you
matter of
put your
fact,
heart and soul into it.
yes. Matter of fact, two of the Chiefs, two of the ones that got beat up on, the DBs number 21 and 35,
Oh, 35. Okay.
they're from Augusta.
Really?
21 and 35. Yes. I know it's crazy.
It's amazing
Um,
down there, man.
yeah, but you know what? Playing games like that, honestly, it does something to you cognitively. Uh, it makes you more. I don't know if it's a healing. It just makes you more alert and understand things a little bit better. It's weird to explain it, because I've gone through the neurological testing and I'm not going to go in detail with it here on the radio, but let's just say that I was affected um, a lot more than I thought.
Wow.
I was affected, and but going through all the testing, it I initially when I got the results, being honest, I cried. I cried when I got the results, but then I sat and I thought about it, and I said, okay, now I know what can I do about it. And what it did also, it explained things from 2000 that I couldn't explain. It explained it was finally a definition to why I was experiencing some of the stuff I was experiencing. I was going through depression, and I couldn't understand why. My kids, Dexter, I remember um, somebody, like if I was with somebody and they would say, um, "Hey, here's my number, remembered," or something like that. Dexter would kind of like chuckle, and it was like, and they would wonder why he's chuckling, and the reason why he did is because he was like, "Dad ain't gonna remember that,"
Wow. He
And I
knew.
know
He
with,
knew. He knew.
yeah, but he didn't know, he wasn't, and it's weird. He wasn't saying that to make me look bad. He was stating what he was seeing, and me, I would just laugh it off. And now once the name was put to it, it gave me a reason to dry the tears and say, what can I do to either slow the process or, well, you can't stop it, but slow the process. And I actually feel a little bit happier, you know, because as age in general makes you forget things,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
also know getting hit from the age of 8 years old also affects you too. But you know what? Again, I wouldn't change it. Even my boys want to play what I do. That's why I wanted to coach them, so I can teach them the right way to tackle, the right way to play the game.
I give a
You
lot
know,
of credit, Dexter. I give a lot of credit to a lot of people, especially in youth football, and especially somebody like you that goes around talking to the kids the correct way. I believe a lot of people out there have the intent to teach the right way. I really do.
right?
I mean, accidents happen. I mean, it's football, I guess. I see that there's a football league out of 7-on-7, no pads or something like that. I saw it on Instagram, and I kind of understand what they're saying. Like, if you have no helmet on, you're not going to really try to go head to head with somebody, I guess, in a
Right.
way. But it's
Yeah, I could see that.
I guess, but I just people. So you notice we're a barbaric society in a way because we love them big hits, but I don't want it done to me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm
I know.
cheering when it's somebody else, which is kind of sick. We want to see
Yeah,
that. We want to see that knockout punch. To see somebody fall. I don't know why we're designed that way, but we are,
yeah,
man. And when they're giving
yeah,
that
and
money
that,
out,
yeah,
when they're giving that
I
money out the way
know.
they are, it's hard to turn kids away from if I was good at it, I'd do it too, 100%.
Yeah, and that's why, you know what, and I have to give it to Roger Goodell. I really think whether it's social justice or whether it's concussions, I really think Roger Goodell is trying his best. I really do. I mean, he can't make owners hire minorities. He can only encourage them to hire minorities. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe he's trying to encourage them to do, to go outside the norm and
And
do
which
it. You know
I'm
what I'm
happy of
saying?
that. I'm happy because I'm a New York Jets fan, and we got one. We got a Muslim. He's a
Hey,
Muslim. I mean, think
hey,
about it, man.
hey,
Right?
that's right. Hey,
Which
he's a
is
49er too.
yo, I'll take any kind of I'll take it, man. I'll take it. I'm
That's
excited.
right.
I think there's maybe a little culture change in New York for the Jets. Hopefully, maybe
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But
Now, yeah.
I got one more question. One more question. What's up, Steve? How you doing? Larry, I don't know if you know this answer or not. You think that Frank Gore be a 49 in 2021? He wants to know if you have any ideas, if you what your opinion. Because
You
he's
know
so
what?
close. He's so close
Yeah,
to
I
breaking
love
records.
Frank Gore. Yeah, I love Frank Gore, by the way. I think he's going to go down. Obviously, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Everywhere he's gone, he's shown nothing but class and just played his role with, I mean, his athleticism, as far as being a running back.
Wow, that's
Um,
amazing.
I don't think he's going back to San Francisco because San Francisco, I love what Kyle Shanahan has done. He was that little Kyle was that little 13-year-old boy running around the field when I played because his dad,
When Mike
yeah,
was telling you that he's gonna make this cut, right? He's gonna cut.
exactly.
That's crazy, right?
Yes, I know, but I think the running backs they got now in the system that system is the same system Mike took. He didn't run it at San Francisco, but when he went to Denver, he created that zone running style, that stretch system where you just run downhill and you make one cut and you go. Fit Terrell Davis perfectly. It would have fit me perfectly. I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. But I don't see with the guys that they have at San Francisco right now, I don't see Gore coming in and unseating any of them. So for that reason, I don't think, he'll go back to San Francisco.
Well, if Gase finds a job with any other, I know it ain't gonna be a head coach, Adam Gase. I know it's not gonna be a head coaching job, but it's some crazy in the NFL how they help each other out. Like if you're like
Hey,
if you're an
yes,
offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, I can give you a DB coaching job. I can give you, they help each other out. So
you're
these guys
absolutely
still
right.
pop up. I mean, you were on your offensive coordinator was Mike Holmgren, and then you saw what he did.
Yes,
It's crazy. You guys, your
yeah.
coaching staffs, right, of the 49ers was the pre-Patriot Belichick when his coaches started going off. Like going here,
Oh yeah,
going here, going
oh
here.
yeah, yeah.
49ers
Just
started
imagine.
that.
Yeah, and check this out. These are all head coaches that coached at San Francisco when I played. Mike Holmgren, Mike Shanahan, Pete Carroll, Ray Rose, um, oh my God, who he was the head coach for the Denver Broncos. He was our quarterbacks coach. Ah,
I'm not good with names, man. Somebody out there would
yeah,
know,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
still okay, okay.
But I mean, it's literally 10 guys that were head coaches that were on that staff.
It's amazing. It was like, I
At
mean, I'm
least.
sorry, I take it back. I
Oh, John
apologize.
Gruden.
Exactly. And I
John
apologize. I
John Gruden.
apologize. Parcells was one of the guys that had his coaching staff too. I'm sorry. I want to throw that out there before people get mad at me. Because he was
Oh
another
yeah,
guy that
yeah.
had, I mean, Belichick came from Parcells' system too, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. Sure
Right.
did.
All the guys came together. So it's amazing. You know what it is? These NFL teams try to get a little bit of the franchise when they take these guys, thinking they're gonna get the next 49ers team or something like that.
That's
But
true.
I got
But
a
yeah.
again, I got a buddy of mine, right? I just told you, Brad. He's a youth football coach. He says that he wants you if you're ever in town, if you can come talk to the kids when you come up for the New York Jets thing, maybe we meet up and you can
Yes.
go talk to some of the kids over there. If
Yeah.
it works
Hey,
out,
hey, you tell him that one, I can't tell him when it's gonna be,
obviously.
but tell him I am gonna do that for him.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. You're a good guy. Everybody's giving you a lot of props. All-star coaching staff, absolutely. All-star lineup, all-star person.
Thank you.
Dexter Carter, man. I appreciate it. We're going to get you to come back on here again.
Absolutely.
Because I want to talk to you, obviously, about your son's career and maybe have your son on. Maybe have your son on to talk.
That'd be awesome.
What it's like or something like that. And see what his high school experiences
Hey,
are, stuff like that.
Hey, you know what would be interesting? You're right. That would be awesome. I'm glad you offered that because you know what? He's so much. There's things that you are curious about asking him that I don't even know the answer to. I like to hear the answers.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So it'll be nice to have him on the show sometime, man.
Listen. Anytime I have available time, I do it Tuesday and Thursday night with my buddy, who's usually he's not in tonight, but. Like I said, any guest I have on, you're always welcome back to hang out. It's a conversation, get to know you. That's pretty much it. I just happy that you're healthy now. Your kids are doing their thing, graduating here and there, getting educations. So, you know what I mean? Maybe the football, whatever, it doesn't have to be just all football. Right. They can have a lawyer, doctor, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I tell you what, once this COVID thing is over, I really do want to use you as a connection to New York, so I can go.
We said Wu-Tang. Remember, you were like Wu-Tang. You got the Wu-Tang on, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. You know, but I really want to come and I want to go speak to that youth football team. I want to come and maybe speak to a group, or you know what I'm saying, have a faith. You know, I'm not saying I got to be an etched in the community every day, but I would like to come and have, you know, and try to help in the community somehow.
That's nice, man, Dexter, man. You know, there's a lot of guys don't think like you do, man. You know, they make the millions, whatever it is, and you know, like the kids, they look up, they say, this guy played 49ers? Like, wow. And you say something, I say it, they don't look at me like, that's Coach Buck. He don't know, you know what I mean? He don't know sugar. But this guy, he's a 49er, he's this, he's that. You're ever in town, you have my number now, so just don't be afraid to use it. You got it. Bring it back on anytime. But I wanted to ask you, one more thing I wanted to ask you. I almost forgot. What's the noise? I got a little background noise over here, the bathroom in the studio. You know, backed up. But I forgot what I was going to say to you. Oh. Okay,
I tell you what. You think about it, and I want to tell you this.
Go
ahead. Every year, I do a golf tournament. It's the Dexter 1335 Seminole Golf Tournament. I do it in Daytona Beach. It's always the kickoff weekend to the college football season. And last year I had 144 golfers, and I raised money for the Florida State School of Medicine. Wow. And, you know, we stay on the beach. I don't have anybody. Well, I do have this one other FSU radio person that she's a fan. She comes, but put it on your calendar. I'm going to give you the date. Okay. Maybe you can come down, do the show, and I put you up in the hotel, and you can do your thing from the golf tournament.
There you go, man. Actually, my father, I told you, is in Orlando. That's not far from Daytona either.
That's right.
Right down the road, skipping a rock. But I cannot wear anything. I can't wear anything Florida State. But I'm sorry, I'm actually.
Oh, I got you.
I'm
Don't worry about it.
The you kid. I'm just joking.
I understand.
I'm only kidding with you.
Hey, guess who I've been inviting, and he might come.
Who's that?
Lamar Thomas.
Really?
Thomas. He played receiver for the
Saints.
Now we go back and forth now. Okay. You know, because them Hurricanes and Seminoles. But yeah, man.
I'm only joking. I know. That's all. Back then, Florida was no big deal, right? The Gators not when you were playing. They were all right? They were
exactly.
They were like they were the redhead stepchild, right?
You know, they had Emmitt Smith, and he was really good. But
he was all right. He was all right.
Yeah. we lost to him my freshman year, and then every year after that, we beat him.
Super Bowl ring. That's what I was thinking. Still got the Super Bowl ring somewhere?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Still got the ring, and man. I don't wear it as much as I used to.
Don't ever get rid of that ring, man. Don't ever get rid of that ring. All right.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, man.
You go to
There's
them places,
no reason
man.
to.
No, to be honest, I go to them places like, especially the pawn shop, the place. I'm like, yo, people put their ring up, but I didn't realize the whole everybody gets a ring. I didn't know that because I'm a Jets fan. Yes. I'm a Jets fan, and we don't get no rings.
Yeah,
ever.
you know what? My mom got one. She got a
Really?
women's version. She got a women's version. My girlfriend at the time got a women's version. Oh yeah, the
Wow.
secretaries get either what do they call the around the neck. They either get that or they get a women's ring. But because that's what I loved about Eddie DeBartolo. Eddie DeBartolo felt like everybody in the circle impacts our success or failure.
Wow.
And if we succeed, then he rewards them because they deserve it.
And he got it like that too, right? I'm just joking. He
Yeah,
got it like that. You guys are a great
he
team. One
does.
of the great teams of all time. I mean, 49ers, man. Talking about one of the franchises. It was you guys, the Cowboys, the Steelers, the
Yep.
Giants. The Steelers, I said, yeah, and whatever team, Green Bay, maybe a little bit. But anyway,
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Dexter. Listen, I'll keep in touch with you definitely. All right. And the
Okay, please
foundation is,
do. Please
and
do.
what's the foundation again? It's the 35.
It's the Dexter Carter 1335 golf tournament.
Okay. So I'll make sure we
Yeah, yeah.
make some time for that to go down there, save some vacation days. All right.
Yes, it's August 1st this year.
Okay. All right. It's right around the corner, man. Gotta get
Yeah,
this.
right around the corner.
You gotta get it, man. It's not
Long as
expensive. It's not expensive to fly down to Florida in
no,
in August.
not yeah, right. Hey, you know what? Get a flight early. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Get
yeah.
a flight early.
I
And by the
appreciate that.
way, I'm sorry I cut you off earlier, but you had something to ask me. Did you remember it?
I don't know. I'm from New York, and you're saying sorry for cutting me off. I cut everybody off. I'm like, you're missing. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. I wish I had the handoff that you took back to the house on the first play of the game. Sugar Bowl or Rose Bowl? What bowl was that?
That was a Miami game.
You took the
That
handoff,
was
37 yards,
yeah,
swung it
yeah,
and
man.
gone like the
Sling
wind.
it
You
and gone.
flash like flash.
Yep.
Out.
One of the memorable moments, man.
I remember you, man. Tecmo football kick return. All right, guys. This the man, number 35. Last question before I let you go. I'll give him one more. 35. Why the number 35?
Cause I was 35 in high school.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and when
I
I
was
got
wondering
and when
that.
I got to Florida, State, a senior had 35, and they had planned on redshirting me, so they gave me 30 for pictures. But then by the time we got out of training camp, they couldn't redshirt me, so they asked me what number I wanted. 13 was available, so I took it. 35 came available the next year, but I by that time I had made 13 my number.
Really
See,
unlucky number
13, where
13.
we?
I see it
I'm
right
trying to
behind
see
you. I
that 13
see.
right
Yeah,
there.
I see it, man.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
see it.
man.
The one and only
Yeah.
Dexter Carter. And there was another Dexter in the NFL, Dexter Man for Redskins, right?
Dex,
He was a
Dexter
beast.
Dexter Manley.
He was
He was a
manly.
beast.
That's right. He was a beast, man. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody, I appreciate you tuning in tonight. Questions. Want to see? Was Roger Craig that good? Come on, that's a stupid question. Great show,
Yeah,
Daniel.
definitely.
Thank you. Nah, he knows. He knows. Thanks for a great show. Everybody's saying thanks for a great show. Listen, we'll stay in touch. We'll
Thank
get you
you.
back on. And then Junior, I'm gonna be interested. Hopefully, we could follow
Okay.
him through his senior year. So,
Yeah,
ev-
yeah. Follow him on Instagram. Follow him on Twitter. Facebook, whatever it is. He's Dexter Carter Jr. He's either on Instagram. He's Dexter freaking Carter Jr.
all right. So that's not hard to find. Dexter freaking Carter Jr. You're listening to Buck the System. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for Tom Murphy coming on. Local guy's a butcher. This guy, when it comes to meat, you don't see these guys like these guys the real deal, man, when it comes to meat. Thank you. He's
Yeah.
helping us out, sponsoring Pass the Buck. So everybody out there, one last thing. If everybody watches Wicked Tuner, we have the captains on, a lot of the captains on the show. Discovery Channel, I'm not no, National Geographic. I was about to say Discovery Channel, National Geographic. It's going to be out February. I forget the date. Somebody up there help me out. But we'll have the captains back as the season come on. We'll be talking to the captains of the show, Wicked Tuner, 10th season. But thank you, Dexter Carter, Senior. And I appreciate you
Thank
taking the
you.
time tonight and talking to me. Memories I have,
Absolutely.
not of me, not of my teams. It was me usually rooting for you guys to beat the Giants because I couldn't stand the New York Giants. Anyway, Have a good night, guys. This lonely Jet fan. Should they keep
You're
Sam?
you-
I don't know.
You're my guy.
All right. Love
You're
you,
my
man.
guy.
Much love. All
Hey,
right. This is the one and
for
only
sure.
Dexter
Let's
Carter.
stay in touch.
We will, definitely, 100%. Trust me. I also have a Venmo posted up for anybody who'd like to help us out with your microphone, stuff like that.
Okay.
At Buck_the System Podcast. Anything helps. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you for guys for tuning in. February 21st, Sunday night, 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central on National Geographic. Wicked Tuna, Season 10. So them guys are going to come on here. TJ, Mr. Bob Cook. We're going to have Paul, all the captains on that show. You're watching Buck the System. Next time we'll have Fox back. So thank you so much, Dexter. And stay safe, man, right?
Absolutely.
Stay
Everybody
safe.
out there, stay safe.
Thank you so much. We're out of here. Good night, guys.
Peace.
Peace out, man. Thank you. Let me find the closer out of here. Outro.
Thanks for listening to Buck the System. Next time, Buck Gritano will do it all again, and we hope you'll join us for the ride. In the meantime, you can reach out to us at buckthesystempodcast@gmail.com with questions, comments, suggestions. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address again is buckthesystempodcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time on Buck the System.
Carter waits for it at the 4-yard line, comes up to the 10, cuts to his right to the 20, gets to the 25 to the 30, 35 to the 40, 45, still in bounds at the 50, down the sideline to the 30, down to the 20, down to the 10, the touchdown for the 49ers.